The Cyclones rolled into Morgantown, but the West Virginia Mountaineers were able to withstand the storm and come out with a 76-71 victory over the Iowa State Cyclones. Mountaineer Paul and I are going to talk about it right after the intro. What is going on, Mountaineer Hoops fans? My name is Coos.
And my name is Mountaineer Paul.
And we present to you
Hoops from the Hills.
We are here today. We're going to break down West Virginia's much-needed 76-71 victory over the Iowa State Cyclones, which occurred on Wednesday night. Second straight home win in Big 12 play. First back-to-back home wins West Virginia has experienced this season so far in conference play. And it couldn't have come at a better time. Paul, what's your initial thoughts on the game, man?
Well, I think, Asuni being in foul trouble was a big deal. They lost their rim protector, best interior defender. And when you think of how many times Keedy was able to get to the rim last night, Eric was able to get to the rim last night a couple times, and a few other guys were able to get to the rim. Guys were able to score around the rim. Okonkwo was able to get boards, block shots, and just it changed so much of the game. Couple that with we out Iowa State, right? I mean, they came into the game known for having a penchant turning people over. Well, that's what we did. Mm-hmm. They did turn into themselves, and you called this. They did foul a lot. We did go to the free throw line a lot, and we made those free throws. Kudos to you for noticing that yesterday before the game started.
Thank you. Well, I mean, in this case, I'm glad I was right because it definitely, in my opinion, was the biggest factor in this win. And I'm going to show the stats for everybody here real quick that we can talk to. I mean, obviously 76-71 was a score. When you look at field goal percentage, West Virginia was 42. Iowa State outshot West Virginia slightly. They were 23 of 50. West Virginia was 21 of 50. They were 46% to our 42. 3-point percentage, West Virginia had the edge here. 8 of 19, 42%, which is great shooting from three. Iowa State was 6 for 18, 33%. Free throws, right here's the difference. 19 of 24 for Iowa State, 26 of 31 for West Virginia. 84% from the stripe.
Wow.
Now, Iowa State shot 79, which is not shabby, but 26 to 19 on free throws, 7-point advantage on a 5-point win. So there's your game right there.
And unbelievable.
Rebounding, West Virginia actually got out rebounded 30 to 23. Assists, West Virginia had more assists than Iowa State. That was a surprise. 13 to 8. Steals, Iowa State held the advantage 7 to 5. Blocks 4 to 2 West Virginia. And I think Okonkwo had 3 of those, if I'm not mistaken. Total turnovers. We turned Iowa State over 14 times. West Virginia only had 11. And there's the foul differential, 30 to 19 in favor of Iowa State. Fouled West Virginia 30 times compared to West Virginia fouling them 19. And then also West Virginia did lead by as much as 15 at one time in the game. But Iowa State came storming back, no pun intended, to get the lead down to 3 at one time. So when you look at those stats, man, I mean, obviously the free throws stand out. What else stood out to you?
The turnovers, they had, 9 or 10 and a half, and only a couple the rest of the way. Iowa State really tightened down the screws in the second half. This is a common theme we see with West Virginia, though. I mean, we typically give away these leads. This is not anything new. We've become used to it by now. I don't know what it's doing for our team. I'll say this. These leads that they're holding on to now, they did not hold on to during the losing streak. But my biggest takeaway is just the incredible turnaround our team has had at the free throw line. And I don't know if it's because they're putting in the work or whatever happened during that losing streak. It was bad juju. Because outside of that losing streak, this team shot well from the line and from three and from the field before the losing streak. They had the losing streak. And then after, just been really good. Mm-hmm. It blows me away that they had a 5-6 game stretch like that.
I know.
When you look at the totality of the season, I mean, they had a 50% shooting night from the free throw line.
I know.
In that stretch. How are they shooting 84% now it just lets you know a couple things about college kids. They're finicky.
Yeah,
There's doesn't take much to get somebody out of a groove in the college level, and momentum matters.
absolutely it does.
You know,
Absolutely it does. Yep. Um, real quick, I want to touch on the key individual stats first for Iowa State. Leading score for Iowa State was Jaron Holmes, their leading scorer. He ended up dropping 18. Uh, Tamin Lipsey, the point guard, freshman point guard, had 16.
yeah,
And then Caleb Grill had 13. He shot the ball really well.
you
And
did.
he also had 10 rebounds. So he ended up with a double-double on the game. And Jaron Holmes also had 5 assists to go along with his 18 points.
Yeah, I really like him. He's a good player.
And yeah, I was with West Virginia. You got leading scorer was Keedy Johnson with 22 points. Played a great game, made some really big shots. Ended up
He's
going 3
making a
for
case,
absolutely, absolutely
making a
3.
case to be top two guard in the conference, man.
Oh man, he's really coming on, man. I mean,
40 minutes is too
I'm glad to
much.
see it because he came back. He didn't have to come back. He came back
Yeah,
for his final year of eligibility because he didn't want to leave. After such a bad season last year, he wanted to come back and try to be part of turning this thing around. It shows you how much he loves Coach Huggins. Number one, shows you how much
yeah.
he loves the program, and I'm happy to see him doing well. But and then you've got Emmett Matthews, man. He finally had a good night scoring the ball with 20 points. Also
If
had
we can
5.
get him going,
Oh man, I'm telling you, man.
hey,
If you get him going again and get Trey Mitchell scoring the ball again, which he only had 9 last night, but he had some key buckets early on when they were blanking and Eric. Trey stepped up and made a couple big shots for him, and he was 3 for 4 from three. All 9 of his points were 3-pointers. So
yeah,
and they needed that because Eric was getting blanketed every time Eric Stevenson touched the ball. He was getting double teamed last night. And Trey, Trey's a guy that still has a year of eligibility. That's my understanding. So I really hope he comes back for us next year. We could also have potentially uh, Joe Toussaint back. He had another fairly good night, 8 points. But man, those plays he made at the end on defense sealed the game for West Virginia.
special.
Special
Yeah,
plays, man. Special plays on the defensive end. Just he's a baller, man. When you need a play, Joe Toussaint can make a play, and I love that guy, man. 8 points, 2 assists, 6 for 6 from the free throw line, and those were big free throws too. He made 4 major free throws down the stretch, along with Emmett's 2 that he made there near the end that really sealed the game and put the game away. Plus the 2 defensive stops I talked about. So there were and Okonkwo. Got to mention Okonkwo. 4
sure.
points, 9 rebounds, 3 blocks. Pretty good night right there. Wouldn't you say?
That's all we need him to do. You know, not as good as his last game where he had 10 and 10, but but just as impactful. You know, because we had scoring in other areas. We didn't
Mm-hmm.
really need him to score. Um, I would love to see him at least start to try to be more aggressive in the post. If he could add a post game to his game, then you're talking about a really scary player for the next 2 years in a West Virginia uniform.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got the ability to do it. Um, he's just got to put it together. You know, you've seen him get to the ball last night and try to do a couple of things, and he's still kind of uncomfortable in the post. And post play is such a technical position. If you've never played in the post, if there's a lot of footwork to it, it's a lot of feel. Where's your man? And there's certain tricks of the trade you learn if you've ever played in the post, how to get around somebody, whether that be with the hook, with the drop step, whatever pivot you want to use. But good footwork can take you a long way, and he's got the ability to do all that.
Mm-hmm.
Love to see him put that together.
Absolutely, me too, and I think he will because we got to keep in mind, folks. He's only 18 years old. He came to
Yeah,
West Virginia at 17 years old last year. So,
wild.
uh, Eric Stevenson only had 8 points. If you had told me he would only have 8 points and we'd still win the game, I mean, you couldn't ask for anything better because he has really been carrying the team especially from the scoring perspective, the last few weeks, man. And he didn't have it last night. He was only 1 for 6 from the floor, 0 for 2 from three, but he was 6 for 6 from the stripe, free throw stripe, which helped. But and he still made some plays. I mean, he still had 3 assists, still had a rebound, made some plays on the defensive side. He ended up fouling out with 5 fouls, but it wasn't his best night. But other guys stepped up and really filled that gap, and that's what you've got to have if you want to. If you want to have a winning basketball team, you've got to have somebody that can do that. And they did. Last night it was Keedy Johnson and Emmett Matthews. Next game it might be Trey Mitchell, like it was earlier in the year. And Seth Wilson had kind of a quiet night too. He only scored 3 points on 1 of 3, or I'm sorry, 1 of 2 from 3-point range.
Yeah.
Any other takeaways that you want to add in?
No, I just think it's the first time we won back-to-back Big 12 games this year. We're really excited about winning 3 in a row. And just think, guys, it's 3 more games is all we need out of the rest of these to secure an NCAA bid. It's looking more and more likely.
Right. Yeah, all we need is 3 more. In my opinion, they need to win 3 more games to get in the tournament to be safe. I think they can do it because they do have at least 3 more home games left too. So, but it's going to be interesting. They do have a challenging test coming up at Texas this Saturday, so that'll be a tough game. But it's a team they've played before, so they should be able to learn from their mistakes.
Yep.
Well, guys, listen. Before we jump off here, I appreciate you guys jumping on. We ask that you please subscribe to the channel here at Hoops from the Hills. Please check out our football channels too, Mountaineer Paul Talks Football and Kuzma's Corner. Please like this video if you like what we had to say here today and you really enjoyed this content. Please share it with your friends that like West Virginia basketball. And last but not least, please drop a comment below and let us know what you thought about last night's victory and what you think moving forward for the Mountaineers. Do you think they end up getting into the big dance when the season's over? With that being said, guys, we appreciate you tuning into this video, and we're out.